Today we're in the shop of Bob Frerking down in Concordia, Missouri. Bob, as you know, is a guild member and one of our really highly skilled segmented bowl makers. And today Bob's going to go through his process from design all the way through the machines that he uses and share some of his knowledge with the guild. So let's just sit back and let Bob do some talking about his segmented bowls.
Okay, this vessel, I call it a vessel because it's really not a bowl, is the one that I just finished yesterday. I took it off the lathe yesterday and I haven't put the finish on it yet, but what I'll do with that is put 2 coats of oil finish on it and then buff it with wax on my buffer that's right over here.
What grit sandpaper have you sanded that down to, just for?
Well, you know, I've taken it down to actually 150. I use 80 first, and then I use 150, and then I take steel wool to really get it.
So you kind of burnish it with the steel wool.
Burnish it with steel wool.
Okay, 4/0 steel wool.
Yeah, 4/0.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Where do you get your inspiration to make that style of bowl?
Well,
Or vessel, as you call it.
I just love the Southwest look, and there's a guy by the name of Ray Allen that put this book together. Actually, Dale Nish, I think Ray Allen died, and Dale Nish is the one that put this book together with his work, but it's really good. I used it in the back end. You know, when you do the feature ring, it tells you, you know, how to put those feature rings together.
So this is the feature ring right here?
This is a feature ring, and this is it in his book. And you know, your imagination is unlimited. Really, is what you can do with the different imported woods, colors, and makes it pretty exciting when you put it all together and put it in the lathe and get a finished product.
So you can make that same bowl with that same style using different woods and give it a totally different.
And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make another one now, similar to this. Now that I've done this, there's some things that I saw that I'd like to improve on. And so I'm going to make another one and see how that one turns out.
You got some very nice grain in there. What kind of wood is this light color that's giving us that real chatoyance?
That is a soft curly maple that I got from Metro Hardwoods, and I really like that. It turns well, and you know, when you put the oil finish on it, it doesn't get that amber look as much as the hard maple, curly maple does.
Now, do you have any problem with oil finish with it bleeding? If this were, say, Purdue or anything where it bleeds through, the red bleeds through or not?
I really haven't.
Good. Okay, you're not doing anything?
Just a little bit with Purdue, but you got to be careful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, go ahead and tell us about your design and how you come about.
Yeah. So what I do after I do the feature ring first, because that dictates then pretty much the diameter, and then I take and lay out a design. This is the feature ring that's down here, and the profile then determines the diameter that you need to have on each ring and the length of each segment. So what I would do is put this. I use a faceplate, attach a waste block to a faceplate, and then the base usually is solid. Sometimes I do a segmented base ring and a plug, but on this particular design I'm using a solid, and this would be the first segment then that we would put together, and I'm ready to go ahead and do that right now.
So you do that? You cut that on a table saw, do you?
I cut that on the table saw, and for the most part I'm using the sled that Lyman and you developed, Jay. So
well, we came off a Seg Easy website, but yeah, we've.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but we've used a little different materials, but yeah. So that's been very successful.
It works good. Right?
Good.
There's some disadvantages, but there's advantages too. You know, it's super accurate, but.
So we're going to cut away for a minute and then go to the table saw, and you're going to show us how to make a ring.
Right.
Fantastic. Okay. Okay, we're now looking at this bottom ring, and Bob's going to show us how he sets the table saw up with this Seg Easy sled, and he's going to show us the process of cutting out this ring and accurately making these segments. So Bob, I want you to talk about how you start this process and go through this with us for us.
Well, everything starts with the plan. This bottom ring happens to be 7 inches in diameter. You know, so what I do is take my calculator and take 7 times 3.14 gets you 21.98, and it's 12 segments, so you divide by 12, and 1.83 inches is the length of your segment. So what I do is just take this rule, and I've got a stop here that makes you all cuts consistent, and lay that in there like that and adjust it, and I pretty well have it already adjusted the way I want. You know, if you wanted to change it, you just loosen this knob and you can slide this wherever you want. So
talk a little bit about the blade and the throat. I see some difference on the throat plate here.
yeah, you know, I've got a zero clearance plate in here. I've cut this strip of the same material with a 45-degree angle on it, so that when you cut your segments, they fall off and don't kick back in your face.
Okay, that's nice, that's handy.
And this is a general purpose, thin, very thin Freud diagonal blade that does a pretty good job. And this is the first time I've had a blade like this.
That Diablo blade, is that sold like at Home Depot? And
yeah, it's
okay.
General purpose. I got it here locally.
Okay.
And, I also like the Irwin Marples general purpose. That's another excellent blade. I use that a lot too.
Good.
So,
so we're not talking you got to buy a $120 forest blade to make this happen.
no,
You can buy it for about half that.
40
price.
bucks maybe.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. You know, the sled is one that Lyman built, and along, so it works pretty good.
So how do you get this angle here? What's going on with that?
Well,
it looks like that's important.
Yeah, I've had to, you know, I didn't get all of the wedges that I wanted, so I made some. You know, here's this, I just lay that right in there and make sure everything is snug and
so this is going to be a 12 segment, so you're 30 degrees, so this is inclusive angles 30, so these
right,
are 15
degrees.
Okay, very good.
All right.
Show us how this works.
All right. Now I did put, sometimes I use these, sometimes I don't.
That's what I found too.
And so just lay that in there like that.
The most important thing is that these two surfaces are parallel to each other. And the angle obviously, but this fence and this fence, they are going to be, you know, parallel. And I know that they're at an angle, but they are the same size and so forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you going to flip this over?
No, keep it all the same. Get that against there. Notice how you have the off fall, falls away from the blade. You need to be careful that you always keep this snug against the fence.
Making this look pretty easy.
This thing does a really good job. And of course you need a good sharp blade. You may have to stop here and move some on the side.
Now, do you worry about getting them, numbering them or anything as far as?
Well, I didn't do it on this, but in order to get it lined up with the grain right, you can put a line on here, a wavy line, you know, it helps you when you glue it up.
Okay.
But I don't know how important that really is. It's just, I need 12, I've got 6, 7, I need 5 more. So the next thing you got to do though is, I call them whiskers, you know, you're going to have
You got a deburring process.
deburring, right? because if they get in the way, you won't get a tight glue joint.
So then the next step would be to glue it together. So we'll kind of pause for a second and get set up to do that. Okay, Bob's finished with his cutting his rings and he's ready to glue this up. He's going to, now Bob, tell us how the process that you're using here. I notice you got something hard here. What is it?
Yeah, I've got a couple slabs of granite here that are really, really good to keep things true, you know, and flat. And then besides that, they clean up really well. You
Okay.
know.
And what do you use to clean that?
Well, I use a wet rag,
Okay.
wet cloth,
Okay.
you know, and
So I notice you've got your rings ready, and there's one with a pencil mark, an X on it.
yeah. Next, when we put it, after we cut these, we had a trial assembly, and we had just a little bit of a gap on the back edge here. So I took it to the disc sander, took a little bit off the front to make it fit up better. So
And you're satisfied with the dry fit now?
I think we're ready to go.
Okay, what do you do next then?
Well, what I do is just,
What kind of glue do you use, by the way?
this is original Tight Bond.
Okay. So you
And now if it brings up a good point, Jay. If I've got, say 24 segments to glue up here, it takes, because I glue everything up at once and do the entire ring. So I go to the
extended or the
Tight Bond 3, which is doesn't set up as fast. You know?
Okay, so this is about the setup time or the working time is about 10 minutes, and that's probably a little bit longer. 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah, about 15.
Okay, and then they've got extended. And I heard you talk one time about a glue that you didn't have to worry about it when you had the open.
Yeah, and that's this glue right here. This is the Tight Bond translucent glue. I use that when we're doing open segments because
Okay.
it dries clear
Okay.
and sure saves a lot of cleanup work.
Okay, good. Okay, that's good to know. Okay.
So let's put this baby together. What I do is something like this. Just squeeze them together. Do the next one. I know there's probably other ways to do it and perhaps better ways, but this is kind of the way I started doing it.
Goes quick.
Yeah, just be sure you get some squeeze out, helps to rub it a little bit. Here's the one that we doctored up a little bit.
And here's the last one.
The last one, we could open a little bit.
Okay, and then you use a hose clamp, modified hose clamp,
Use
two of them
this
glued together. Or
hose clamp.
together.
Put that on there. And I tighten it by hand. Get a little better feel for it rather than using the drill.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't get it real tight yet. But
Do they sometimes get misaligned? Is that and not level?
yes, now what I do is take it over to a press that I've got.
Okay, in the process there, you're setting up your clamp here. And I notice you've got Formica. Is that Formica on that? Is there a reason for that?
Well, it just was handy.
Oh, okay. So it's not.
It was a couple of cutouts for kitchen sinks that I came in possession.
And you've wiped the excess glue off of your ring that you're tightening.
Right. Tighten. What this does, it makes all of the segments line up flat, and then while it's in there, I'll tighten this up the way I want it.
How long do you leave it in the clamp?
I take it out right away.
Oh, okay. You pull it right out of there. That's just.
It's just to level them all up,
Good.
save some sanding, and then I clean up the residue off of the plates, clean it up, clean this up, like that, and put it aside.
Okay, and then what do you do when that's dry after that? How long do you let it dry to begin with?
Well, I let it dry a couple hours
Okay.
before I do anything with it, but you can see we've got a pretty tight fit.
And then what's the next step after you build all your rings? You go and do what to that to get it perfectly flat? You sand that by hand, do you?
No, what I do, when this is ready to go, I'll take it over to my, I've got a drum sander over here, and this thing is really helpful. I'll send it through the drum sander, and it'll level, make this perfectly flat, both sides. And
At least the way I do it, I have to do it by hand, 'cause I don't have one of these.
And then it'll be ready to glue to this one will go on this. I've already got the waist block and the base in the lathe here, but this will glue right on here. I'll do this operation with that same press after I've run it through the drum sander. And what I do then is just build up from here.
Do you turn as you go along?
Turn the inside as I go.
Okay.
Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But what makes it very necessary is that plan, so you know what diameter to turn the inside, you know, with that.
Now, what kind of turning tools do you prefer to use?
Well, I use almost exclusively the Easy Wood tools,
Okay.
and I've got all of them that they make, I think, here. The parting tool. This is the round carbide cutter, the finisher. This is the detail one, and this is the roughing. But I use the regular parting tool a lot, and I also use this heavy-duty scraper to really smooth the inside of the bowl. Those are my main tools.
Very good, very good. Well, we really appreciate that, and the time you've taken to show us this step. This is great. I hope that some of the guild members it encourages them and to try one of these segmented bowls, because they are a lot of fun to make.
They are fun.
And they're addictive.
They're addictive.
Yeah.
But when you get everything in here and you start to see the pattern come to life and the design, it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah. Very nice. Well done. Thank you very much for sharing.